Hi, I'm here to update my video on Billy Wilder's favourite actors to work with. So there are a few omissions, and I want to begin with some of the ones that never happened. I mean, obviously, Cary Grant, Billy Wilder sent so many scripts out to him, especially like Sabrina, and he turned them all down because he always thought he was too old for the part, and I don't know. I think that probably had Cary Grant worked with him, he probably would have been had done more films with Billy Wilder than anyone. Anyway, moving on to another what if. Greta Garbo. Now, Garbo did a script that was written by Billy Wilder and Charles Brackett, I want to say, Ninochka, and she was supposed to, she was asked to do Sunset Boulevard, which she turned down, but I think it could have been a very interesting, comeback. But anyway, we got Gloria Swanson, who was also marvellous. Speaking of Sunset Boulevard, the other person I forgot was Erich von Stroheim. I hope I've got his name correct. Who initially starred in Five Graves of Cairo, Five Graves to Cairo, I think. Which I just watched fairly recently, and so he starts in that film where it's just a shot of his neck, and Billy Wilder said that Erich von Stroheim's neck can do better acting than most actors do with their face, and it definitely is a great start, and so he's playing the the Nazi SS leader in that film, and he's fantastic. And then he comes back, obviously, for perhaps his most famous role as an actor, as opposed to him as a director, which was in Sunset Boulevard as the first husband / butler, which is a bit of a spoiler for some if you've never watched it. Please go and watch it. It's a fantastic film. And the biggest omission, everyone was asking, like, where is it? Fred McMurray also did 2 films with Billy Wilder, of course, Double Indemnity and The Apartment, which I talk about in the video, which is so crazy, right? And obviously he always cast him against type, which was really fascinating, right? So, like, Fred McMurray was kind of famous for these sort of light-hearted Disney comedies, whereas Billy always put him in this sort of darker light, I guess, like the flip side to the coin of, like, Mr. America. And, he's, seared in film history for Double Indemnity and, of course, The Apartment, arguably 2 of Wilder's greatest films. Hey, it's me in the editing room, well, in my kitchen, but anyway, I've forgotten a few people. So the most important is Walter Matthau, and he actually was supposed to be the star of The 7-Year Itch. He'd done a screen test, he was chosen by Billy Wilder, but 20th Century, it was before he got really famous, so 20th Century's put the kibosh on that one. So later on, Billy worked with him in 2 films, including the first of the Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau collaborations. They did firstly The Fortune Cookie in 1966. It was a black comedy. And then later in 1974, they did The Front Page together. And, so 2 collaborations which could have potentially have been 3. And now one, because I'm including Ninochka as being one of the films. I'm also going to include, what's her name? Barbara Stanwyck. Oh, hello. It's a terrible impression, right? Okay, anyway, Barbara Stanwyck. So first, Balls of Fire, which Wilder was also the writer of. And so she was starring in that with Gary Cooper, who would later go to star in Love in the Afternoon. So Gary Cooper, I've got 2 for 1. So Gary Cooper's there. He's been into, I have to admit I haven't watched either of them, so I can't comment. But Barbara Stanwyck, obviously Double Indemnity as well, with that supposedly, awful wig from the bottom of the barrel at the costume department, but ends up looking, making film history, and everybody who wants to parody film noir often parodies either that or The Big Sleep, that telephone scene. Now, there is perhaps one more. Now, so this could be a 2.5, right? It doesn't seem to be confirmed, but so I was just watching 7 Year Itch today, and got the headphones or the earphones in, and it's like, wait a minute, like the image that the young actress in the 7 Year Itch, I don't know her name, sorry, but they're recreating the famous love scene on the beach from Here to Eternity, and I don't think the woman herself is Barbara Stanwyck, but the voice. Because apparently Billy Wilder liked to sneak in little cameos, like Raymond Chandler is apparently in Double Indemnity, but no one found out about it for 60 years. Anyway, but if you listen, I'm going to say it is, because it's just so like, this is, I think if you're watching it without it like in your ears, maybe it's a bit harder to hear, but listening to it was like, that has to be Barbara Stanwyck. So I reckon Barbara did 3 of Wilder's films, but maybe officially just 2. Okay, hi, it's Editing Hamish again. So a couple of films that I found. So as I've included his written work with Greta Garbo and Gary Cooper, I really should include the written work with Claudette Colbert. So Claudette famously did Midnight, which was a great, fun screwball comedy. And then she also did another film with Gary Cooper, which I'm just going to check up the name. Claudette Colbert. All right. Will it be the magic of editing, or will I keep all this stuff in? Gary Cooper. Bluebeard's 8th Wife, Claudette Colbert and Gary Cooper in 1938. So around the same time as Ninotchka, and as you can probably guess from the name, it's this spunky young girl who's marrying this wealthy playboy, and she's going to be wife number 8, but she's got to be really she's got to be very savvy about the whole thing. So what was it? Maybe if I read the actual thing, it'll be a lot funnier than my vague memory of it. Nicole, a French woman, plots revenge against her fiancé after learning he's married and divorced 7 times. Ooh, a scandal. Anyway, it's kind of interesting to think that while Billy Wilder worked with Gary Cooper, he didn't work with Claudette Colbert. he wanted to work with Greta Garbo, but doesn't seem like he wanted to work with Claudette. Okay, so that's 3. I'll probably find more, but maybe this will be it for now. It's me in the editing room again. So I'm a little bit sick at the moment, so I hope you forgive that. So I wanted to include something that I included in the original video, which was, how did Billy Wilder cast them? Is it, against type, or is it, with type, or are they typecast? So I was going to include this in the notes, but I thought I'll put it in the video. So I'll be checking my notes. So Cary Grant's a bit hard to describe because he was able to do everything, romantic, dramatic, comedic, and, every script was sent to him because he was so talented, and also because he was one of the first people who were like independent of the studios. So anyway, he's a bit of a hard one to but we do know, of course, that Sabrina was sent to him. So I think Billy was, even though Cary Grant could do everything, I think Billy was kind of going with that going with that Cary Grant mold. So with Garbo, I'm going to say, technically he didn't hire her for Ninotchka, but Ninotchka is very much against type because, she's laughing, she's having fun, and it has a happy ending. It's not a tragic story. Whereas, so in Sunset Boulevard, that is a tragic story. So that would be a little bit more with type. So this is against my previous thesis of like a lot of those other actors were cast against type. Perhaps that's why they're so memorable. So Erich von Stroheim, I hope I'm getting that right. The interesting thing, both characters keep the world around them under intense control. So if you think of his character in Sunset Boulevard, he controls everything in that house, and the same for Five Graves to Cairo. But this is a bit of a spoiler, but obviously that intense, meticulous control doesn't stop that that outside influence from coming in and destroying what he had created. Fred McMurray, okay, so in both cases, this is very much against type, and, had Fred been more willing to play that kind of a role, that might have been his type as opposed to, Mr. American Dad. So it was interesting that they're both grey-suited men with grey morals. So perhaps Wilder is saying that the flip side of Mr. American Dad, like he's this great guy at home, but then maybe when he's at the office he's not so moral. Okay, so the other ones, I'm going to have to confess that I have not watched Ball of Fire or Love in the Afternoon, so I can't actually talk meaningfully about Gary Cooper or Barbara Stanwyck. But yeah, I guess maybe I haven't watched enough of Barbara's movies. Like I've seen obviously Double Indemnity. I've seen her in what did I watch her in recently? There's a great movie too. It's one where she's holed up in bed and she's an invalid, and she's with Burt Lancaster, and she's trying to figure out who's trying to murder her. Don't remember it, but anyway, so that was kind of a different character. So same thing for Claudette. So for Claudette Colbert, obviously Midnight and the one with Gary Cooper, which I just read the synopsises of, but they're both screwball comedies, so very much within her wheelhouse. Especially what she was known for at the time. It's not no big stretch. I mean, Since You Went Away was probably her biggest stretch, which is a funny thing to say for an Oscar-winning actress, but she very much. Though indie filmmaker from New York, Cody Clark, says that if you're perfect for the role, that there is something to that, right? That maybe we like to see the transformation, like wow, but if someone's really perfect for a role, that's difficult as well. I mean, if you think of how difficult it is to play yourself, if you've ever tried to even do something like this, you inevitably end up a heightened version of yourself. Like one of the commenters of my Marilyn video said I was so uncharismatic and boring. Well, I'm afraid that's me, so if you like it, hang around, and if you don't, then find your information elsewhere. So there's plenty of golden age channels out there. Barbara Stanwyck, they played together in Sorry, Wrong Number. Anyway, that was a really good film. That was a really, really good thriller. Okay, better wrap this up. So, either which way, I think Billy Wilder was a master of casting. See, I'm sick. I forgot Walter Matthau. And anyway, all of the films he was going to play in, including potentially Some Like It Hot, 7 Year Itch, very, very much typecast. Like, he was cast as Walter Matthau. Like I think the one film where he wasn't cast as that character was probably Charade, which is honestly, it's Hitchcockian, but it's like I can totally see it being made by Billy Wilder himself. Okay, so thanks. There's the video. Thank you for watching, and please check out some of my other videos somewhere, and please subscribe if you want more, and make a comment down below. I try to respond to all of them, unless they're like super, super, super weird. But anyway, come and join the community. Thank you. Mwah.